Welcome to another reading. So today there won't be any groups to choose. We are going to find out what you need to know at this current time in your life. Okay, so you gotta remember who you are: culture, resilience, and beliefs. So you're being called to be more in tune with yourself. And depending who you are and what your situation is, you can do that in a variety of different ways. I mentioned many of them in my previous readings. But you can do things like, especially with the culture here, you can do things like creating your family tree. So talking to your parents about, their life story and everything they remember about the people in their life and family. And then talking to elders like, grandparents, if you still have them around, or cousins, aunts, uncles, whoever, and getting like as much information as you can. It's not just about writing down, maybe their birth year or death year, but also, their full birthday, what culture they came from, where do they live, what type of work did they used to do. Like any details you can about your family, try to write it down, create a little timeline of, how this tree looks like, how it expands. It's a fun project and you get to learn more about yourself and your own family, of course, which is important because when you are creating your own family, it's great to pass down this knowledge so that your child knows where they came from, who they are, right? Like for a majority of people, your ancestors are all a mystery to you. But when you do have as much information as you can written down about them, you tend to connect to them more in this way. You tend to realize who these people were, with who you share blood with. And you never know, just seeing all this information about all these individuals, you get to realize where your own skills, talents, interests, dislikes, likes, where all of that stems from. Even like allergies and things like that. So for others, this could be also meditating, because it centers you. It reminds you of who you truly are beyond the illusion of what you built around yourself. Because when we are growing up, we come in fresh, right? We don't know who we are physically. But then your parents start to guide you, what you can't do, how you should be acting. And then you go to school, and then the school puts a new layer on top of that. Who you should be, how you're supposed to act in school, what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing, and then they label you things, right? If you're a little more energetic, suddenly you have ADD, when really all you have to do is just spend more time doing activities that remove all that energy, right? Maybe you need more time playing. Maybe you need more time, just doing athletic things, running around, whatever it is, because you have a lot more energy inside of you. That shouldn't be dulled down with pills. It should be released with activity, right? And then you get labeled as being bad because you're running around the classroom. You get labeled as being insufferable or a nuisance or something like that, when you're just a kid trying to express yourself, right? So then you get your own friend group, and within that friend group you get expected to be a certain way, so then you fit the program, right? You fit the narrative. And then you go out into the workforce, and then you're expected to be a certain way there. You're expected to act a certain way, you're expected to do certain things, and of course you don't want to be an outcast among your coworkers. So you sort of create like a persona at work of who you're supposed to be, right? So you're just adding layers and layers and layers of illusions of something you aren't. When you're meditating, you tend to center yourself and go beyond the illusions, and you start to find yourself again of who you truly are. You start to tap into your spirit self and not disconnect, but sort of go beyond the physical and all those layers you built. Okay, so reminding yourself of who you truly are in different ways is beneficial for you. This card never, I think, popped up before. So, whole self-health, natural therapies, balance, and Ayurveda, if that's how you say it. Yeah, so they're informing you to start looking after yourself. There's so many toxic things going around now. I'm hearing a new brand of ticks from the lab, thanks to, I guess, Bill Gates, who tend to make you allergic to real meat so that you buy synthetic meat. I have no idea the logic behind that, because if I was allergic to meat, I wouldn't be eating any type of meat then. I don't know why they would expect people to then start buying synthetic. If anyone does, I think you're stupid, but you need to start looking into natural therapy, natural remedies, and things like that. Those were the most authentic and original ways of healing. Before pills and pharmaceuticals and big pharma and World Health Organization, all these things, it was only nature. Mixing in herbs, mixing different plants, and knowing what plants heal what. Making teas that support your body. Okay, so looking into more natural and safe way of living and of treating your whole body, your whole system, your mind, your flesh, your emotions, everything. Because you are what you eat. Everything you put in, you become. So if you're constantly eating toxic food, your body becomes a toxic environment. You bloat, you get intestinal pains, you get a foggy memory, you get migraines and headaches, you get muscle and joint pains, you become lazy, slower, you don't think as fast, your memory becomes bad. All these things become a problem because of what you put in and on your body. So it's not just about food, it's about the lotions you put in. Everything gets absorbed into your skin. Okay, your skin has billions of little holes that helps your skin breathe, and when you plug those holes with chemicals, they seep into your skin, travel through your bloodstream, get into your organs, and then you get problems that then they, give you pills for, which creates additional problems and side effects for other things, and then they give you more pills to combat those other side effects, which create more side effects, and the list keeps going. That's why so many people, especially in America, are so dependent on pills. Okay, so this is about remembering who you are deep down. They want you to know that you are soul first. Everything functions on the spiritual and energy first. Okay? Your thoughts create your experience. So when you are energy, you manifest the physical. This is why they pump you with so much fear and propaganda in your movies, on the news, because the more people, the more minds collectively focus on darkness, they then create that into the world. If everyone stopped watching the news, if everyone started meditating and thinking positively and having more hope, this would totally shift how our planet functions. And those that function in the negative, like globalists, the elites or whatever, our great consciousness of positivity, it would irritate their energy. Like they couldn't stand being on this planet because of how collective is thinking, of how much positivity there is in the world, of how people are helping each other and being an actual kind neighbor and helping each other's businesses grow, expanding and learning to grow together. All of this would shift the way our planet functions, and it would be felt. Okay? You got to answer the call. So you need to start acting. You can't just think or plan or have ideas. Now it's time to go out there and do it. It says explore, travel, live. Okay? It's not about existing anymore. It's about living. You don't like something, you change it. Okay? I am truly, truly disappointed with Americans and the fact that when that whole Harvey Weinstein case came up, right? Everyone was on the streets. Feminists were screaming, crying. Celebrities came out to rallies and to say, Me Too and all this stuff. But how is it that when grown women that made a decision for themselves at that time, whether they felt they had to or whatever it was, okay, I'm not going to say that it was their fault, but technically they're grown women. If you're being invited to a party and you end up seeing that the hotel room is empty and there's no one there, your first choice should be leave the hotel room and get out, okay? But no, these women went further in, they looked around, suddenly he came out with a robe. They still didn't rush out the door, they still stood there and waited. I'm sorry, but that is your decision. How is it possible that everyone came out on the street for grown-ass women making a decision, and yet not a single person came out when innocent blood was shed, when innocent bodies were tortured and eaten? That truly puzzles me. The fact that you care less for innocents that can't even choose for themselves, that can't defend themselves. No one does anything, and yet everyone was out on the street for adults that made their own decision. I don't understand that. And it's really terrifying, the fact that people are willing to sacrifice kids. And yes, if you're doing nothing, if you're not even standing up, if you're not even talking about it, you are participating in it. Anyone that watches pornography is participating in it because the porn industry feeds the trafficking industry. Okay, let that settle in. Every time you're jerking off or doing whatever, watching others participate in sexual acts like a cuck you are basically approving little children being sexually exploited. Even if the video itself doesn't contain children, that industry feeds into the industry that is much worse. And don't think that companies like Disney have nothing to do with it, because Disney owns a portion of the porn industry. So it is time to stop just existing, to stop being ignorant. You have the information at your fingertips. At this current stage in the world, in this generation, in this year and time. It is a choice to be ignorant and to stay ignorant. Because your phone has the internet, you have books in the library still, you have books on sale and in stores. You have the information out there. So if you're still being ignorant, if you're still choosing not to believe it, not to look into it, that is a choice. Okay? Because it's time to stop existing and to start living, to start creating a world that will benefit everyone. This other card you have is family connections, respect, people, kinship. They're telling you, okay, not only to first remember, this is a literal map of what you need to do, okay? First start with yourself, knowing who you truly are, tapping into your family history, tapping into your soul self by meditation. Meditation isn't evil. No one is coming inside of you. You are not leaving your body. You are where you are, okay? You're basically still inside of you, only connecting to, let's call it the cloud, okay? You know how there's like the cloud on the internet? Well, imagine a spiritual cloud where all consciousness and collective is in there, right? You are basically, okay, I'm going to show you with this, okay? So imagine this is you, okay? And you are meditating, okay? You are connecting to a cloud above you that is a collection of all thoughts, all ideas, all information, truth, like throughout lifetimes, okay? This cloud contains everything that ever existed. You connect to that cloud, okay? And through that cloud, you basically, through meditating, you center yourself within, connecting through that cloud and tapping into knowledge that is beyond your brain and what you know in this lifetime, okay? And through that knowledge, you are also knowing yourself. You are feeling yourself deep down of who you truly are and the greatness that is you. Okay, because you're not some dumb, stupid human being that's useless or worthless or whatever other people have made you to believe or your experience have made you to believe. That is not you. You are a powerful soul entity that is fusing into this physical body in order to exist in this physical realm. Because if we didn't have these bodies, we would just go through things, right? So in order to be able to touch these things, to use these things, and function in this realm, you need a physical body, an avatar of sorts, okay? So first knowing yourself, then starting to treat yourself better and working yourself to eat healthier, to live healthier, removing toxins from your environment, from your cabinets, your fridge, anything, okay? Yes, healthier does seem like it costs more, but not in the long run. It doesn't destroy our planet as toxic food does, okay? Not to mention that you save on medical bills because when you eat healthy, you stay healthy, okay? And always remember to research where your food comes from, your cosmetics, was it sprayed with something, what it contains inside, what is it made out of, okay? So that you know that you're not putting microplastics in you, that you're not putting vaccines in you, because I'm hearing that now vegetables have vaccines in them. So you have to do the research, and I know that it is going to be time consuming, but once you do it, you don't have to keep doing it because you're just going to keep buying the same products. Go to the farmer's market if you can. Make sure those farmers aren't spraying their, food and produce with stuff. Grow your own stuff if you can. Even if you have a little balcony, you can still grow a tomato plant or something in a flower pot. Okay, do what you can with what you have. And then it's time to act. It's time to go out there and work on things you're actually passionate about. Don't just work just to work, to get money. Work on stuff that your soul feels a calling to. And then connect with other people, connect with your family, connect with your neighbors, your townfolk, anyone around you. Try to get to know them better so that you know who you live around. You know who you vibe with and who you feel off with, knowing who to stay away from and who you can depend on and rely on. Because when things get tough, you need a community you can depend on. Okay, so this is a path to how we are supposed to be living. Smaller communities are more natural than big cities. Big cities are soulless. They're just about going from work to home. There is no passion, there's no life there. Okay, smaller communities are more natural. Build your own if you have to, and if you have the means. We got Destroyer here. Ooh. Flow. They're telling you to destroy the aspects of yourself, your life, that no longer serve you, because you need to get in the state of flow. Okay, this basically, what you're seeing here, okay, is the masculine and basically the feminine. Okay, I know that there's a man here, but this deck is all about gods, right? But flow is a feminine state of being. The destroyer is a masculine, right? Because the man, he's all about structure, discipline, boxes, okay? A woman, she's more about circles, right? She has a curvier body. She's more graceful. There's flow to her, okay? So imagine the male being a mountain, right? Rigid. The woman would be the river that flows through the mountain, okay? So we have to, as a collective, as a consciousness, as a society, we need to go from the masculine into the feminine. And I know a lot of people will say, well, women are bitchy and catty. That is because they have been taught to be this. Women in the beginning, when Lemuria existed, they were not catty, they were not bitchy. They were basically the rulers of Lemuria. The place functioned on the feminine flow. Men were used mainly to procreate with, to do hard labor, but there wasn't any, I don't need a man or things like that. They were just held to a different standard. Okay, men didn't like this. They were angry, and so they created Atlantis. Women were the first priestesses, okay? Men took those roles, made it so that women can't be priestesses anymore because now men are priests, hence why they still wear robes and things like that, because they stole the idea from women. And then, because of the natural order and how woman made society function like nature, right? Everything flowed. Men stripped that away and started creating structure. Okay? Some of the women that were priestesses, they didn't like that, and thus dark magic was born. Out of the anger from what men stole from women. Because women created harmony and men wanted control. And you may feel angry at that. I'm not saying one is better than the other. I'm just saying that when society functions like nature does, when it flows like it should, it is more peaceful and balanced. And women need to stop accepting the role of being catty and bitchy. Okay? All of us women have our vulnerabilities. We have our experiences of majority feeling violated, disrespected, misunderstood, and there's no point of us doing that to each other. Okay, there's no point of being jealous of one another when we have different life paths, when we have different skill sets, when we have different talents, when we have different wants and needs, right? We should be coming together and being sisters. Because long ago, when women had, when they got into their menstrual cycle, they would leave their homes, they would leave their like not permanently, but during that time of their menstrual cycle, they would leave their spouses, their, male family members, and they would all go into this little, I don't know what it was, a village or a house or whatever it was. But these women would basically live together. They would share stories, they would share experiences and lessons, they would teach one another, especially the older generation that still had their period, right? They would teach the younger ones that just got their periods. And no men were allowed there. These women shared, they connected, and it was beautiful. And that's what women should start being like, because the powers that be, they made it so that we hate each other, because they know how powerful we are when we come together. Okay, so it is telling us that as a society, as a collective, we need to go from the destroyer into that feminine flow. Because everything in nature is perfection. When an environment is toxic, that's when natural disasters occur in order to shake things up and restore the balance. Okay, so your first card, well, our first card, right, since this is a collective, how teachable are you? So this is asking you, are you going to stay ignorant? Are you going to stay lazy? Or are you going to start evolving, learning, researching, and making a difference in your life and the lives of those around you? Because it is time to start making a difference. There is no more being lazy, because the more lazy you are, the more they get away with. You think that these Epstein files came out by accident? They wanted to show you this, to see how much they can get away with, if anyone will do anything, if anyone will rise up and want and demand justice. They wanted to see. And they got exactly what they wanted. No one did a thing. And now they know that when they start doing this to your kids, when they start doing this out in the open, you are not going to be strong enough to do anything. And they will just do whatever they want. And don't think you're safe, because this is going to be everywhere. The whole point of everything, if you actually look at the line of how all this started, and I'm not going to say where it started because a lot of people will be offended if I say it, but if you look at the line of how all this started, you will see that this was always the plan, to make pedophilia a preference, not some disease, of making even eventually bestiality a thing, of making necrophilia a thing. It's going to be depraved. And all of it will be legal because you accepted this. You accepted not doing anything. You accepted just turning an eye, just complaining about it and turning an eye because you felt comfortable in your home with your warm meal, with your kids being safe. But you can guarantee that all of that will be over if nothing is done. Your comfort is an illusion. The next card you got is rejection. You are rejecting yourself. You are rejecting who you truly are, by being a persona, by being something, some narrative you have told yourself because of your experiences, when that isn't what you are. It's time to stop the rejection. It's time to accept yourself as you are, who you were born as, your true self. And it is hard because it involves facing your demons, facing your traumas and healing from them. It feels ugly and icky and uncomfortable because you are going to have to relive mentally the trauma that you went through, because you're going to have to see it, you're going to have to relive it mentally so that it does not trigger you anymore. You're going to have to even talk about it. You're going to have to say the word of what it is called that has been done to you or that you went through. Because once you are comfortable saying that word, whether it's rape, whether it's molestation, whether it's abuse, harassment, gaslighting, whatever it is, once you are capable of saying the word, you will have power over it. It is no different than when you know the name of a demon, right? Just like in the Conjuring movie. When Lorraine figured out the name of the demon, she had power over it. Because the name is powerful. So stop rejecting yourself. Start meditating and tune into who you truly are. See who your ancestors were, your family tree, and you will see just how important and valuable you are, because you are the result of 1,000 loves. And then you got Phoenix rising. Rising in your power, because once you know who you are, where you come from, you will know where you're going. You will know what to stand up for. You will know. Okay, and this is important. You literally have a roadmap here of what you have to do in order to become that phoenix, in order to come into your true power and potential. You are not a dumb human. You are a human that has your true talents and skills blocked because of what you have been programmed and of what you put in and on your body. It is blocking your true abilities. Telekinesis, telepathy, clairaudience, clairvoyance, all of these things aren't fantasy woo-woo things. These are actual abilities that every human being has. Some will have some aspects more stronger than others, right? That's why we will seek help of those who have those type of abilities, and these people will seek help that they need abilities of from someone else that they might not have strong. But we all have these abilities in us. They are just standing under all that clutter that you are allowing to exist within you. That is why the masculine and the feminine are important, because you do need to do the dirty work. You have to be the destroyer sometimes within yourself to destroy the bad habits, to be that masculine energy in order to then shift and become the flow, the feminine. Okay? Even if you are a muscular 6'7" man, okay, just because you're strong and have that rough edge about you, you can still be in your feminine by being a kind person, by being humble, by protecting women and children, protecting the innocent, even if it's other men that may be weaker and can't defend themselves. You have that obligation to be the protector. Okay? That is what feminine energy looks like in a rough masculine man. Having a good heart, a heart of gold, knowing not to disrespect her by shouting, by belittling her, by making her feel worthless, by making her feel like she's nothing, or, that's toxicity. That's destroyer energy. When you're functioning in flow, you function on respect and love. Even if she's upset and hitting your chest, you don't match that energy by hitting her. You calmly and gently take her into your hands and you hug her. You validate her feelings and tell her that you understand that she's upset. And you talk with her, not at her, not to her, with her. Okay? It's time. It's time to change, because you see how many generations have lived where masculine energy was dominant. And you see where we are. It's all greed, it's all ego, it's all destruction, it's war. It is not working. Okay. You got curses. It's about time to end the generational curses. It's about time to stop even cursing yourself, how you speak to yourself mentally, how you speak to others, how you communicate, how you deal with your own emotions, right? Self-talk, even when it's negative, it is a curse you place upon yourself. Because by saying that you are worthless, that you have nothing going for you, that you suck, that you're a loser, whatever it is, you are cursing yourself to stay blind to opportunities, to have your energy reject opportunities that may be coming in for you. Your energy feels off to other people, so they don't want to approach you. They see you in a negative light, right? Because they feel energy. People feel energy. It's the same as when you walk into a room where someone has been fighting and you just feel like something is off. Or let's say you meet someone that has a really kind soul, and before you even know anything about them, you just, let's say, introduce yourself. You feel like, I really like this person. There's something about them that is just so magnetizing. You feel energy. Okay? So if you're seeing that no one is approaching you, that that you have no one in your life, that you can't attract anyone, consider what energy you're putting out. Okay, it all starts in the mind. Once you shift your perspective of how you see things, of how you see yourself, of how you talk to yourself, everything else will change. Not right away, because it takes time for your energy to transform into that new energy. It takes time. It takes you truly drilling those positive thoughts into your mind and eventually starting to believe them. Eventually starting to see how amazing you are. Remember that no one has the same skill sets as you. No one has the same puzzle pieces as you, right? To be as you are, to have the skills that you do, to function as you do, to have a heart like you do. Like all these little puzzle pieces that come together, no one has that combination. You are unique in your combination. And you need to accept that. You need to love yourself for that. Because you are different. There's no one else like you. You got ritual. They want you to start creating rituals, a schedule, whatever you need, in order to truly start being more disciplined. To start seeing your life as it needs to be. Okay? Maybe you need to be more active. Maybe you need to start having more fun for those of you that are workaholics. Okay? You need to start creating a balance in your life. Remember, we're not in the destroyer consciousness. We need to go into the flow. So no more stress, no more overtime, no more grinding and drilling and hustling. It's all about the flow. Okay? And please help each other out. Just because someone else is succeeding and you aren't doesn't mean you have to be jealous of them. If you were humble and kind and started to, let's say, befriend them, they could help you with your own thing, right? It's all about helping one another, not gatekeeping. Everyone can be successful because everyone offers something different. You got the hedge. So this is about creating boundaries, building something that not everyone needs to know right away, but when it's time, they can, you can show them. But it's all about creating boundaries and working on your life to create it as you really want to live, not as you have to live, but as you really want to live. And sometimes, yeah, it can be a little hard in the beginning, as they say, you know, in the beginning you have to live like no one else wants, right? Because it's going to be hard, the grind and everything. But that's why you transform into that kind of life where you live how everyone really wants to live, right? The wealth, the abundance. But the grind that we're talking about isn't about stressing yourself out. It's about working on yourself and stop being lazy. It's about figuring out who you are and taking these steps to improve your health. Because if you're not healthy, if you have a mind that can't think straight, that's foggy, that makes your body lazy, then you're not going to be able to be strong enough to defend your family or yourself or to stand up what's right. You don't even know what you should be standing up for because you're just accepting everything. Every agenda they put out, every new fad or what's like cool and mainstream and in, everything that you just accept just because they say so, that's cool and in, you're basically falling for nonsense. You need to have discernment to see past the illusion they're creating for you. Just like when they roll out like that whole having a chip inside your brain, because of course um, they're going to manipulate you into the idea by saying this could help people that can't walk, right? In putting this chip in their brain, they can then connect it to like these neural pathways that will be able to make them walk again or to see again. And everyone's going to say, this is amazing. It's giving these people an opportunity. Yeah, but by accepting that, you are basically putting a computer chip that is hackable inside your mind, which they then can hold you hostage by saying, if you don't do as we say, we can turn this chip off. And now, not only will you not be able to walk again, you won't be able to do any other thing again. We can fry your brain in an instant, right? You have to see past this sob story and this hope that they are creating by saying what it could help you for. Yeah, but what can it destroy? What can you use that thing for that will make you the one that gets the benefit and not us, right? This whole reading, I want you to understand that it isn't about black versus white. It's not about right versus left. It's not about gay versus straight. It is about us versus them. Okay, let that sink in. Put your differences aside. Because they do want you to live under one world government, under tyranny, right? So you will all be one. But it's your choice what oneness you choose to be. Is it under tyranny, oppression, and force? Or is it against them and as a collective of people that help and depend on one another, that create little societies where everyone lives in unity, in humanity, in peace? And I get that not every type of person might not, not everyone might like one another, right? Communities, even races, whatever. But it's not about the hate, it's about at least respecting one another. Okay? You may not like me, I may not like you, but let's just respect and just live and let be, right? Okay, so you got two cards that popped out here. You got meditate and contemplate. Again, it is telling you to keep meditating. When a group of people meditate together at the same time for one mission, they could create wonders. Okay? Let's say you get a small town and you get a bunch of people that come together and they meditate on the peace and harmony of that town. That energy will spread through that town and people will start slowly behaving differently. Maybe not on the first day, but the more you do this, it will create a change. I once read, I think the Dalai Lama said this, that if every child learned how to meditate, we would change the world in one generation. Not 200 years, not 2,000 years, one generation. The world will look like a total different place if every child starts to meditate. Your second card is don't let your past hold you back. You are not what was done to you. You are not what you may have done to others, okay? You can change. You can become a better person. You can make better choices. You can stop toxic habits. You can do all of that because you have the power to. The angel gate, cleansing, protection, blessing. Okay, so this is a huge portal that is opening up. Okay, there are guides and spirits and beings that want to help us, but they can't if we are not trying to help ourselves, if we're not trying to help one another. Okay, can you imagine an entire army waiting at the gates, waiting for you to open that door? So that blessings start coming in, so that the world looks different. They are waiting for you to rise up and create this world into a safe haven like it should have been. Okay, we can create a Garden of Eden on this planet where everyone has enough, where everyone supports everyone else, where true justice sorts out the evil. Okay? There was a town where this one person, this is a true story, okay? There was a town, I think somewhere in the US, where there was this one person that was truly vile, okay? Everyone feared this person. This person, I think they, like, physically abused their wife or girlfriend or something, I don't know. They were really abusive. Everyone was scared because this guy was, like, big and everything. Police didn't want to do anything. Either they were scared or what, I don't know, but the cops didn't do anything. So what did the town do? They got together, they held a little meeting inside, I think like a diner or something, and they attacked this person and sorted that business out very quickly. That's the power of what society does when they come together. Pedophiles wouldn't exist. Murders wouldn't exist. Serial killers wouldn't exist, because when society comes together, they could cleanse out that vile, depraved energy. There's more good in the world than there is bad. The only reason why it looks like there's bad more is because it is more louder. Final message. Your energy is exclusive and expansive. Remember, it's a privilege to be in your presence. So don't give your energy away to anyone. Make sure you get to know someone really well before you allow them in. Okay? So my beautiful souls, stay humble, stay vigilant, help one another. Okay? We're all in this together. We're all in this great mothership called Earth. And we have to make this planet into the heaven that it is and that it can be. Okay? I wish you guys well. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I also do personal readings. All the links are down in the description box below. I wish you guys a lot of good health, good luck, good vibes, and remember that all of this is in your hands. So I'll see you next time.